ZBCN is having a pullback, but doesn't mean I'm concerned, especially for the long term. Absolutely not, because 10 cents, I still have my sights on that, even though nothing I say is financial advice. But in the world of cryptocurrencies, pullbacks are very normal. And if we take a look at ZBCN, it kind of had somewhat of an independent rally on its own, despite the altcoin space not really doing the best. So then, of course, eventually, people do want to take profits. Some people just want to leave. Some people out there, they don't want to be in the world of cryptocurrencies, or maybe just in ZBCN for the long term. But that is a different case for me, because I don't view something like ZBCN or the world of cryptocurrencies as something that I'm going to be in here for a week and then I'm leaving. That is not the case. Personally for me, I'm taking more so of what ZBCN could be during a fully fledged type of altcoin season, because we haven't seen that yet, in my opinion. Again, if we have seen that, then probably, something like Ethereum would be at the price of $10,000, and, something like Bitcoin would be at around $250,000, $300,000. So I don't think we have really seen the peak yet, not only just for the bull run this time around, but more specifically for altcoins. So again, what ZBCN did, kind of like on its own rally, I would say, is very impressive. I mean, just imagine, right? It was pretty low, then boom, suddenly the market cap went to around $500 million. Eventually, somewhere along there, people are eventually gonna want to exit, right? Even despite not being in a fully fledged born, because not every single person is gonna have a long-term mindset. But then I'm not in here to tell anyone to buy or sell ZBCN. I'm not saying that. Could ZBCN go lower? Sure. But the way to take a look at it is that whether or not it goes lower, whether or not it goes way lower, or whether or not it goes up or whatever, my strategy will stay the same. That is just accumulating, holding, and just waiting. Because for me, ZBCN reaching around $500 million market cap, how is that the peak? At the price of 10 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $8 billion. In the grand scheme of things, even $500 million, which we saw ZBCN reach in terms of market cap not too long ago, that seems very minuscule, let alone around an $8 billion market cap, which some people think is actually very bearish for even many meme coins out there. So the way I view it is that, sure, if there's a pullback, I'll acquire more. If there isn't, I'll still acquire. It doesn't change, because I am kind of like indifferent to the short and medium term price movements, in a sense that anytime an income, I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. So whether or not the price is like going up, going down, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm still accumulating on a routine basis, because I treat cryptocurrencies like a marathon. It's not a sprint to me. I don't view this, again, as a short-term thing. The way you take a look at it as well is that if ZBCN did that well not too long ago, imagine what it could do if the altcoin space was really in fifth gear. Imagine if we saw kind of like the 2021 type of altcoin season, but then this time around, but maybe in a much better way. One could only imagine what it could do, even if, let's say, ZBCN dropped 50% in price from where it is as of right now. It would still be way more than when I first started believing in ZBCN. So my mindset is, if I believed in ZBCN back then when the price was not doing good whatsoever, in my opinion, how would it, let's say, dropping an additional 50% from here, if let's say that does happen? I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying as like a scenario, right? It still wouldn't matter to me, because it's still a lot more than what it would be than when I originally acquired it. Now, it's just a waiting game, really, because I understand a very amazing project like Zebec, some people may think, if the price is dropping, that means the fundamentals are becoming worse. That's not the case, because is Zebec still focused on AI-based PayFi? Yes. Is it still focused on, we take a look at payments, global trade and finance? Of course. It's also even focused on RWAs, real-world assets, which is a big thing as of right now. So the price dropping is more so people selling and then people just wanting to exit, right? It's not necessarily related to the fundamentals of Zebec. But that's just my mentality. It's just a waiting game, because I get it. ZBCN, people are like, oh man, it did so well. It's going down. Here's the thing. The way you take a look at it is that things can't go up forever, but they can't go down forever too. Eventually, Zebec, or should I say ZBCN, it's going to find somewhat of a recent bottom, I would say, because eventually there's going to be a point in time where people just don't want to exit. And then it's going to kind of stagnate, which we're seeing a lot of altcoins happen, or should I say do as of right now. Eventually, we're going to see that. But then once the altcoin season really kicks into fifth gear, then I think ZBCN is truly going to showcase itself. But again, it's just a waiting game because usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. And the last one happened in April of last year. So 18 months from then would be around October this year. This is more so of an ambiguous date because there's no guarantee it's going to happen at that time. And that's just based off history. It doesn't mean that history is going to repeat itself to an exact T this time around. But whether or not ZBCN peaks in October, in November, December, January, whatever the case may be, my strategy, again, is still going to stay the same. And I'm going to control what I can control, which is just acquiring, holding, and just waiting because I cannot control the markets. The only thing I can control is myself. Like, for instance, when ZBCN had that amazing rally, did I predict it to an exact moment? No, but I was still believing in Zebec. I thought maybe it would take a number of months more, but then it happened that quickly. So again, in the world of cryptocurrency, sometimes altcoins, they're going to have rallies at different times. They don't all necessarily just peak at the same exact time. You know what I mean? Again, different trends, different market sectors, it's going to have a different time frame for each individual cryptocurrency. So I'm just going to still stay patient. That's it. Acquire more, hold, and just wait. 10 cents wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.